Hey everyone, ready to get fluent in English fast?
Who isn't, right?
That's what we're diving into today. We're looking at Language Unlocked.
On DOS TV.
Yeah, exactly, that YouTube channel. They've got some really,
Simple strategies.
yeah, sometimes surprisingly so, but they're backed up by.
Really interesting research.
So let's get into it. What I say are the biggest
Roadblocks.
Yeah, the biggest roadblocks to speaking English fluently. For me, I think it's like,
Being scared of making mistakes.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they say that's a big one.
Like sounding silly,
Totally. And they talk about this habit of translating in your head
Oh, yeah.
before you speak, which, slows you down, right?
Yeah,
And then, of course, not practicing enough.
life gets in the way.
It does. But they also talk about having a limited vocabulary.
Oh, tell me about it. I feel like I use the same words over and over again.
Exactly. And they say that building a good vocabulary is, important.
Yeah.
But it's not just about, memorizing lists of words.
Right.
They say to learn phrases, not just words.
Oh, so instead of just knowing the word happy, it's like, oh, I'm over the moon. I'm feeling fantastic.
Exactly. That's a good point. I like that.
And it helps you, understand how words are used in different situations.
Like the nuances.
Yeah, the nuances, exactly. And they also talk about using, tech tools
Oh, okay.
to build vocabulary. Things like Anki and Quizlet. Have you ever used those?
I've heard of them, but I don't, really know what they are.
Okay, so they're basically flashcard apps.
Right.
But they're kind of like supercharged,
Oh, okay.
with algorithms to help you memorize things better. They use this thing called spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition. So it's not just going through a stack of flashcards randomly.
Right, exactly. It's like they track your progress
Oh, wow.
and figure out the best way for you to learn.
Okay, so it's like a...
Personalized tutor.
Yeah,
is-
okay, cool. So they also talk about the shadowing technique, which
Oh.
it's all about mimicking native speakers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have a pronunciation coach.
Built in.
Yeah, right in your headphones
Yeah.
or whatever you're listening to.
Exactly. So they recommend choosing audio or video that you enjoy,
Oh, for sure.
whether it's like a movie or a podcast,
Or a TED Talk, yeah.
TED Talk, anything like that.
And then they say, and I've actually tried this, record yourself
Oh, yeah.
while you're shadowing.
Oh, that's a good tip.
It's so helpful because it can be a little awkward at first
I bet.
to listen back to yourself. But it's like holding up a mirror
Yeah, to your pronunciation.
to your pronunciation and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, okay, I need to work on that sound.
Exactly. And sometimes you don't even realize you're mispronouncing things
Yeah.
until you hear yourself.
Exactly. But they also say that it's not just about pronunciation, it's also about,
Projecting confidence.
yes, confidence is key because even if your grammar isn't perfect,
Yeah.
if you speak with confidence, people are more likely to,
Understand you.
yeah, and be engaged with what you're saying.
Exactly. And they break down confidence into these simple techniques.
Like what?
Slowing down your speech, which not only gives you time to think,
Oh, right.
but also makes you sound more calm and in control.
So it's not rushing through everything, trying to,
Get it all out.
and using pauses strategically.
Pauses.
Yeah, it lets you gather your thoughts,
Okay.
emphasize key points.
So it's like punctuation for speaking.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, if you're talking to someone face to face,
Yeah.
eye contact.
Eye contact is so important.
It is. It builds that connection,
Absolutely. But they also say that, even with all the best techniques, you're going to,
Make mistakes.
you're going to make mistakes.
It's part of the process.
It's part of learning.
And they actually encourage you to, embrace the mistakes.
Oh, interesting.
See them as opportunities to learn.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, because it's easy to get discouraged.
When you mess up. But it's everyone makes mistakes,
Even native speakers.
even native speakers. So it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about being comfortable enough to just keep talking,
That's a really good point.
even when you stumble a bit.
So we've talked about building vocabulary,
Hmm.
the power of imitation,
Right.
projecting confidence. It seems like Language Unlocked really emphasizes these
Daily habits.
yeah, integrating English into your life as much as possible.
Exactly. And one of the, I think, simplest but most effective things they recommend is
What's that?
the think in English tip.
Think in English. Okay, tell me more about that. What does that even mean?
So it's basically making a conscious effort to use English
Yeah.
in your internal monologue,
Yeah.
all day long.
So even when you're just talking to yourself in your head.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of thinking what am I going to have for dinner?
In your native language.
Yeah, you would think it in English.
What should I make for dinner tonight? Okay, that's interesting. But how does that actually help you speak more fluently?
Well, when you're constantly translating in your head,
Uh-huh.
you're creating this extra step.
Okay.
It's like having a middleman,
Right.
slowing things down.
Makes sense.
But when you think directly in English,
Okay.
you're like rewiring your brain to process the language more naturally.
It's like creating a shortcut in your brain. So
Exactly.
you don't have to take the long road every time you want to say something.
Exactly. And the more you practice thinking in
Yep.
English,
Yeah.
the more automatic it becomes.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll find yourself just naturally
Thinking in England?
thinking in English without even realizing it.
That's really cool.
It's like building a muscle,
Yeah.
The more you use it,
The stronger it gets.
the stronger it gets. Language Unlocked recommends setting aside just a few minutes each day
Okay.
to practice this.
Yeah.
You could narrate your day, describe what you see,
Oh, that's a good idea.
or even have, like, imaginary conversations in your head.
That's fun.
Yeah,
And you can do it anywhere, anytime.
exactly. And to make it even more, like, engaging,
Yeah.
they suggest using the 30-second speaking rule.
Oh, I love this one. Tell our listeners about it.
Okay, so you pick a random topic.
It could be anything.
It could be literally anything.
Your cat,
Your cat, the weather.
favorite movie, whatever.
Yeah, and you talk about it nonstop for 30 seconds.
The key is to just keep talking.
Keep talking,
Yeah.
even if you make mistakes.
Even if you're rambling, it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
just about getting those words out.
Exactly. It's like a warm-up for your speaking muscles.
So we've got thinking in English, the 30-second speaking rule, super simple,
Right.
but powerful. What else? What other strategies do they recommend?
Well, they also talk about joining English-speaking groups.
Oh, that's a great idea. It's like total immersion, right?
Yeah, it's like a language bound.
They're constantly hearing English being spoken.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything like super formal.
Oh,
There's tons of online groups,
oh, cool.
forums. And if you're feeling brave, you could look for, like,
In-person groups.
language exchange groups in your area.
That's a great way to meet new people, too.
It is. And practice your speaking.
Okay, so ready to get a little more hands-on with some techniques?
Yeah, let's do it.
Language Unlocked has some great tips for pronunciation and intonation.
Starting with the shadowing technique.
Ooh, that sounds mysterious.
It does, but it's actually pretty simple. You basically mimic native speakers.
From, like, recordings and stuff?
Yeah, from audio or video. Pick something you enjoy listening to,
Okay.
like maybe your favorite podcast, a TED Talk, a scene from a movie.
And then you try to copy their pronunciation.
Exactly. Pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, like everything.
It's like you're their shadow,
Yeah.
following their every word. And they also say to record yourself while you're doing it.
Oh, yeah, that's a great tip.
Yeah, which, again, can be a little cringy to listen back to yourself, but it's so helpful.
It is. It's like that mirror again.
Yeah, it's a mirror, but for your pronunciation, you're like, oh, okay, I'm doing that sound wrong.
Exactly. You can pinpoint those areas you need to work on.
Yeah, and Language Unlocked also talks about not just expanding your vocabulary, but understanding,
Nuances.
yes, like how words are used in different contexts.
Exactly. Not just the dictionary definition, but
Yeah.
all those subtle shades of meaning.
And they have this fun challenge they called the synonym game.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's like,
It's like a thesaurus treasure hunt.
yes. So instead of always using the same words like good or bad,
Basic words.
yeah, you challenge yourself to come up with
More interesting ones.
more descriptive synonyms.
So instead of saying the movie was good, you could say,
The movie was captivating.
yes.
Or the movie was thought-provoking.
Exactly.
Or even the movie was a total snooze fest.
Be creative.
It's all about adding, like, personality
A
and
flavor.
yeah, flavor to your speech. But even with all the right words and the techniques, speaking a new language can be,
Nerve-wracking.
oh yeah, it can be really intimidating.
Especially at first.
Yeah, like all eyes are on you, you're worried about making a mistake. What does Language Unlocked say about, like, overcoming that self-consciousness?
Well, they actually have a whole section on the power of confidence.
Oh, interesting.
They say that even if your grammar's not perfect,
Right.
the way you deliver your message makes a huge difference.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly. And they suggest a few techniques for, like,
For projecting confidence.
yeah, even if you're feeling nervous inside,
Like what?
like slowing down your speech, which we talked about earlier.
Right. Gives you time to think.
But it also makes you sound more
Calm, yeah.
authoritative.
And they also talk about using pauses.
Yes. Pauses are so powerful.
It's like it lets you breathe, right?
Exactly. And it lets the listener kind of absorb what you're saying.
And then, of course, when you're talking to someone face to face,
Eye contact.
eye contact is so important.
So important. It really creates that connection.
But, even with all the best techniques, you're still going to
Make mistakes.
make mistakes. It's inevitable, right?
Especially when you're learning a new language.
Yeah. What does Language Unlocked say about that?
Well, they actually encourage you
If you're
to,
making mistakes?
yeah, to embrace the mistakes, see them as, like,
As feedback.
yeah, as feedback, opportunities to learn.
Instead of getting, totally discouraged.
Yeah, because everyone makes mistakes. It's part of the process.
Even native speakers.
Even native speakers.
Yeah.
The key is to not let those mistakes, derail you. Keep going.
Keep going. So it's not about perfection. It's about...
Progress.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Language Unlocked really emphasizes that fluency is a journey, not a...
Destination.
It's ongoing. You're always learning.
And they really encourage people to, just dive in and start speaking.
Even if they're feeling a little...
Shaky.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the more you practice, the better you'll get.
That's a good point. And speaking of practice, they talk about the importance of...
Consistency.
consistency. So it's much better to...
Do a little bit each day
Yeah.
than to try and cram it all in once a week.
It's like working out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to exercise those muscles regularly.
To see results. And just like with exercise, it's important to find...
Activities you enjoy.
Yeah. If you love watching movies, try the shadowing technique.
If you're a social butterfly.
Join a language exchange group.
Exactly.
Mm.
Make it fun,
Yeah.
And you're more likely to stick with it.
That's a great point. Now, I know some listeners might be thinking,
It's grammar.
yeah, don't I need to master all the grammar rules before I can speak fluently?
That's a common question.
What does Language Unlocked say about that?
They say, well, grammar is important.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a roadblock. Don't let it hold you back from speaking.
So focus on getting your message across, even if it's not
Perfectly grammatically correct.
at first, yeah.
Yet
And then you can...
gradually refine it.
Yeah. They also suggest finding resources that explain grammar in a way that's
Clear and simple.
not too overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly. There's tons of great websites, apps, books out there.
That can help you, yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of just reading and listening to English.
It's like osmosis for your brain.
Exactly.
You absorb the correct grammar structures naturally.
Okay, so we've talked about daily habits,
Mhm.
imitation, expanding your vocabulary, confidence.
Right.
But there's one more really important aspect that Language Unlocked emphasizes.
What's that?
Feedback.
Feedback. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they talk about the importance of getting feedback from
Native speakers.
native speakers or experienced English teachers.
So it's like having a coach
Yeah.
who can help you see.
Your blind spots.
Yeah. Yeah, and pinpoint areas where you need to improve.
And they say, it doesn't have to be formal feedback.
Yeah.
You can just ask a friend,
Oh, right.
Mm,
Just to point out any mistakes.
yeah, during conversation.
Okay, and they encourage learners to be proactive in,
Seeking out feedback.
you could join an online forum or a community, right? Where people can share their work.
And get constructive criticism.
Yeah. So the key takeaway here is that
Feedback is a gift.
it's a gift.
It's not about feeling judged or discouraged,
Yeah, it's about
Learning and growing.
learning and growing. So Language Unlocked offers all this great advice, but ultimately the key to success is
Taking action.
taking action
They encourage viewers to pick one or two strategies
that resonate with them.
and start implementing them right away.
Don't try to do everything at once.
Just focus on building those
Daily habits
daily habits.
and gradually expanding your comfort zone.
And remember, the journey to fluency is a marathon, not a sprint.
It's about enjoying the process
Celebrating your progress.
and never giving up on your goal.
Of speaking English with confidence and ease.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so now I'm thinking, this all sounds great, but
Where do I even start?
yeah, there's so many techniques. It's a little overwhelming.
Language Unlocked does give you a lot to think about. That's true. But the good news is...
You don't have to do everything at once.
Exactly. Pick one or two things
That really resonate with you.
that you're excited about.
Yeah, and start there.
It's kind of like choosing a workout routine, right?
Yeah, if you enjoy it.
You're more likely to stick with it
And just like with any new skill, you'll get better
with practice.
over time. Don't expect to become fluent
overnight.
No, it's definitely a journey.
It's a journey. There will be bumps in the road,
For sure.
but you just got to keep going.
And we're here to help. We actually put together a checklist
Oh, cool.
based on Language Unlocked's top tips.
That's awesome.
So you can track your progress, stay motivated. You can find it on our website.
Along with, like, all the other resources.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of other stuff there too, like a list of recommended...
Websites and apps.
Yeah, and online communities, all kinds of stuff. So you don't have to go it alone.
That's great. So, are you ready?
To unlock your inner English speaker. Let's do this.
Yeah.
We just took a deep dive into Language Unlocked.
On DOS TV.
Yeah, all those techniques for speaking English fluently and fast.
They really break it down into, like, manageable steps,
Yeah, it makes it feel achievable.
even if you're a beginner.
And the key takeaway here is, like, consistent practice.
Yeah, building those daily habits
Integrating English into your life.
as much as you can.
Yeah. So thinking in English, the 30-second speaking rule, shadowing native speakers.
It all adds up.
It all adds up. So which of these strategies really resonates with you? Which one are you going to try today?
That's a great question for everyone listening to think about.
As we wrap up this deep dive, remember, the journey to fluency, it's personal,
Yeah, find the techniques that work for you.
that you're excited about.
And most importantly,
Have fun with it.
yeah, learning a language should be enjoyable.
It's an adventure,
We believe in you, and we're here to support you.
every step of the way.
Now go out there and unlock the power of your voice. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Wow, we've covered so much today. From,
Simple daily habits
like thinking in English,
to those more challenging techniques.
like shadowing.
Yeah, shadowing and finding English-speaking groups. But I think what really impressed me about Language Unlocked
Yeah.
was
What's that?
how well they explain the why.
Behind each technique.
Yeah, like it's not just about following instructions blindly.
Right, you're understanding the principles that actually make these techniques work.
Exactly, and that makes you more likely to
Stick with it.
stick with it, yeah. And you can even start to, like,
Adapt them, make them your own.
yeah, personalize the techniques. And I think that's a big takeaway here. There's
Not
no
one size fits all.
one-size-fits-all approach to language learning. What works for one person might not work for another, so
Experiment.
experiment. Yeah, find what you
Enjoy.
what resonates with you.
And don't get discouraged if you try something and it doesn't
Click.
click right away. Just
Keep exploring.
Yeah, keep exploring. You'll find the things that light you up, that work for you. And remember, consistency is
Kink.
key, yeah. Even if you just have a few minutes each day,
Make it a habit.
make it a habit to practice.
It really does add up over time.
It's like, planting a seed.
Ooh, I like that.
You got to water it a little bit each day.
And eventually.
It grows into a beautiful plant.
So your fluency is that seed.
Mhm.
Nurture it with consistent practice.
That's a great way to put it. And don't forget to
Celebrate those little wins.
celebrate those small victories along the way. Like maybe you finally nailed that.
Tricky pronunciation.
Or you had a conversation and felt,
Confident.
yeah, understood.
Like you were understood.
Those are the things that
Keep you going.
keep you motivated. Yeah. So we talked about a lot, those daily habits like thinking in English,
The shadowing technique
joining English speaking groups. But the most important question,
is what action are you going to take today
ooh, that's a good word.
to get closer to your goal
Yeah.
of speaking English fluently? It could be something small, like,
The 30-second speaking rule.
or maybe you're ready to find a,
Language exchange partner.
whatever it is, take that first step.
A journey of 1,000 miles.
Begins with a single step.
That's so true. And remember, we are here to support you. You can find all those resources we talked about.
The checklist, all that good stuff.
Yeah, on our website.
So keep practicing, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
Until next time, happy language learning.